guys, coming to you today with a topic both for my customers who I coach on the fitness side of my Team Beachbody business, and as well as my business partners and the other Team Beachbody coaches that I work with to help them develop their businesses and achieve the goals that they've set for themselves. And the topic today is, how do you view yourself? What's your self-image? What is the self-talk that you have going on that either provides a foundation for you to be successful or is perhaps the major obstacle to your success? Okay, and this really comes from reading John C. Maxwell's book, The 15 Laws of Growth, and understanding how these things apply. And one of the laws is the law of the mirror. And in that chapter, there's a quote from Zig Ziglar. And that quote is that you cannot consistently perform in a manner that is inconsistent with the way you see yourself. So what does that mean? Well, here's what it means. On one side, if you have a positive self-image and a positive vision of yourself, and when you look in the mirror, you see somebody that you like, somebody that you believe is worthy of success, somebody that you believe deserves to be healthy, somebody that you believe is smart and capable of accomplishing great things in their life, it's going to be really difficult for you to act in a manner that's inconsistent with that. So while people who believe that way and think that way, certainly they have their temper tantrums and their pity parties and their moments where they're not grateful and a lot of other things, it's really difficult for those people to act in a manner that's inconsistent with that for any period of time. So they end up being successful because they have a successful image of who they are. Now, the flip side of that is if you have a negative self-image, you don't think you're worthy of success. Maybe you think you're ugly. Maybe you think you're fat. Maybe you think you're lazy. Maybe you think you're not very smart. And that's what you're saying to yourself every single day. You sit there shaving in the mirror or putting on your makeup, wherever you are. And the voices in your head are going, you're really just not that good. It's going to be really difficult for you to act in a way that's inconsistent with that thought pattern. Okay? So if the voices are telling you you're a fat slob, you're going to continue to put food in your mouth. That's going to continue to make you a fat slob. You're going to miss workouts. You're going to lack motivation to get your workouts done. Okay? If the voices are telling you that you're not worthy of success, being successful in any endeavor, Team Beachbody or otherwise, it's going to be really, really difficult for you. Okay, so what I want to do today is I want to give you a little bit of a view into my life and how this is applied for me, and then give you some tools to hopefully help turn all this around. Okay, so let's get going. So first of all, with me, okay, when I was about less than a year old, my parents got divorced, and my mom decided that she didn't want to raise me in Ogden, Utah. Instead, she wanted to raise me here in San Diego, California. In fact, in Coronado, California. If you've ever been here, it's amazing. I'm standing actually right here in front of the beach. And that turned out to be a really good decision in the long term of my life. Unfortunately, my dad, who was not a bad guy, in fact, he was just a total sweetheart, he made a decision not to come to San Diego with us. And what he decided to do instead was move to Northern California and kind of bounced around up there. And I couldn't understand that. I didn't get it. And I made up a lot of stories about myself that developed that sort of negative self-talk that I'm talking about, okay? So I was able to be successful in certain areas of my life because I was a hard worker, right? I practiced law for 10 years, and I was pretty successful at doing that. But my relationships were a complete disaster because I had a vision of myself and an image of myself that led me to do things that destroyed relationships in my life. Sometimes avoided them, sometimes destroyed them, sometimes a combination of both. Almost ruined my marriage, okay? I had a lot going on in that area of my life because of the self-image that I had that didn't enable me to act in a manner that was inconsistent with that image for any great period of time. Okay? I had to turn that around. I had to first recognize it, and I had to understand it, and I had to catch myself, and I had to notice, and that's the first thing I want you to do. Notice what the self-talk is, when you're shaving or putting on your makeup or whatever, and you're just there in front of the mirror. What are you saying about yourself? And be honest about it, because this is maybe the major thing that turns it around for you. Okay? Notice what those things are. Also, as you get pushed out of your comfort zone, maybe you have to go talk to somebody that you're uncomfortable talking to. Or maybe you have to go to the beach and wear a bathing suit. What are you saying to yourself as all that stuff goes on? Because you're proving that story with every one of your actions. And we got to turn that around. So let's talk about some ways that you can do that. The first thing I believe in is in figuring out what it is you really want, right? So if you're, let's say I'm a fat slob and that's the story you're telling yourself, what is it that you really want? How do we retell this story in a way that's going to enable you to then act in a manner that's consistent with that truth? Okay, so here's what I do. This is something that I didn't invent this. This is something I learned at a seminar I went to. But it's something I do on a regular basis, and I did this just yesterday as we were driving home from our summer vacation in Portland, Oregon. I sat down in the car, and all I had was an orange highlighter, so I apologize. This might be a little bit difficult to see. But this is what I do. I take a piece of paper, and I quadrant it, and then I think about these 4 areas of my life. That's my spiritual self, my emotional / relationships, my mental / wealth, and then my physical self. Okay, I think about these 4 areas, and I try to list 3 to 6 things, just kind of depends, in those areas where I either want to continue to be really good or get better. Okay, so just a couple of examples in the spiritual side of things. For me, surfing is something that is a really spiritual thing for me. It enables me to get away from my computer and from my phone and all that stuff and just peace out for a while. It's also good exercise. So that's something that I want to do more of, right? So that's something I want to maintain. Yoga is something that I used to do a lot and have kind of gotten away from. And I found that for me, that was really great meditation. So I've put those 2 things on here. One is one I want to maintain. One is one that I want to really start doing again and I want to get back into. You know, my physical self, here's one that, you know, I've got kind of yoga, surfing, T25 Body Beast, and then 6 handicap. You know, I used to play a lot of golf. When I started building my Team Beachbody business, I realized I didn't have time for golf anymore. And I went from about a 5 handicap to now I'm like a 10. And I'm not having as much fun playing golf as a 10 as I was at, 5 or 6. So my goal is to get back to 6. So that's something I want to start doing again. Hopefully you're kind of seeing the pattern here. As far as, my emotional relationships, being a father and a husband, those are the most important things to me. I've got some more specific goals that I don't really want to share on YouTube as related to those 2 things. And also, my other relationships in my life and things that I want to accomplish and have. And those, again, are areas where I struggle. And so I really need to continue to improve. The mental wealth side of things, I have income goals that I set for myself. I have goals for how much I want to save and how much I want to give. And also, incidentally, want to get a new car this year. So those are kind of the examples of little things that I want in my life, right? And that I want certain way. Maybe they're things that I want to own, things or ways that I want to be. More importantly, I think are ways that I want to be. Healthy and wealthy and wise, so to speak. So what I want you to do is start with that quadrant and looking at those 4 major areas: spiritual, your emotional and relationships, your mental and wealth, and then your physical being as well. Look at those 4 different areas and list like 3 to 6 goals, okay? And these don't have to be lifetime goals. I usually do this kind of once a quarter is the way I do it. And it's like things I want to accomplish, right? And then, a lot of times the same items appear on the list over and over and over again because I don't get to them. Or maybe they're outside of reach within the time period that I've set for myself, and I want to make sure that I keep them on there. And so I'll keep listing them. Making $1 million a year is on that list, and it's been on that list for a while, and something that I'm working towards because that's a big goal of mine. So what I want you to do after you've put all these things into these quadrants is to sit down and create some I am statements. What is an I am statement? Well, you can see the shirt I'm wearing. It says I dream big, and if you can kind of get close to it, I'll post a picture on my blog. You can see that the letters or the whole thing is made up of smaller little words. These are I am statements, and they say things like I am worthy of success. I am excellent. I am healthy. I am fit. I am whatever it may be. Put together some I am statements, okay, that reflect the things that you've put in these different quadrants. Okay, then what I want you to do is pull out your iPhone or whatever device you would use to record your own voice. Okay, iPhone is the one that I have, but pretty much any phone has a way to record your voice. Maybe you need a video camera for this. It just kind of depends on who you are and what your technology is. But record yourself just going through and simply saying these things as if they exist. Okay, I am 170 pounds. I earn in excess of $1 million a year. I own that new car. Say them as if they exist. Okay? Why? Why would you bother doing this? Here's why. because your voice is the most powerful tool that you have. It may be that your voice is currently the most powerful enemy that you have. But what I want you to do is I want you to take your own voice and turn it into your ally. And if you will simply sit down and set some goals for yourself on what you really want, and then turn them into these "this is" real statements, I am, I have, I do, if you will do that, eventually your subconscious mind will be powerless against your own voice. Because you're going to listen to this every single day. I suggest you do it right before bed, and maybe even right when you wake up in the morning. I've done this before. It's a really, really powerful and very, very successful way to overcome the negative self-talk that's going on. How do I know this works? Well, A, I've done it myself, but B, if you've ever seen The Biggest Loser, they do this on The Biggest Loser. Okay, and they do it, I think, for television effect, but there's also a very powerful psychological aspect of it. So if you've ever seen that show, one of the things they do with the people who make it really far in the finalists is they have them in the beginning sit down and film a video talking to themselves. And then at the end, it's this really powerful graphic, right? And it's like the before person talking to the after person. The before person is telling the after person, I'm really proud of you. You know, there was a time in my life where I never thought you could accomplish this, but you did it and I'm really proud of you. You're at your goal, or you've overcome this, or whatever they do, they go back and they talk to themselves. Why do they do that? Yes, they do it for dramatic television, but they do it because they understand overall the people on The Biggest Loser ranch, because they have a negative view of who they are, and they have a pattern of destructive behaviors that have led them to get to that point. And in order to overcome that, they need to face it, and they need to come up with a different story of their life. That's why they do that. And that's why it is so, so powerful, because what happens is those people are forced to put themselves in that final role. They're forced to see themselves better than they are today. And that's what can happen for you too. So I don't know if this is something that troubles you. You know, I don't know if you struggle with negative self-image or not. I just know that I did. And I know that when I changed that and I was able to sort of reverse that pattern of behavior, a whole new area in my life opened up. You know, I was able to get into real relationships with people and be truly happy with who I am every day. And then I was able to act in a manner that's consistent with that image of who I am. So if this is something that you're struggling with, no matter whether it's with your fitness or with your business or your relationships or your own personal wealth or whatever it may be, I really encourage you to sit down, make this quadrant, go through, list 3 to 6 things that are gonna really move the needle for you and make you truly happy. And then create this little audio of you talking to you about what it is that you are. See yourself bigger than you are right now. All right. Thanks, guys. I appreciate your time. Have a great day.